Since the release of the cinematic trailer of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Twitter, or you might now say X, there's been a big discourse over the Black Samurai Yasuke. Now, anything I speak here is gonna be a little divisive, so I would recommend you guys to watch the video completely without already making up your mind, because that is gonna impact your judgment. So in this video, I'm gonna give my honest thoughts as an Assassin's Creed fan who has played all the Assassin's Creed games till now. And it wouldn't hurt to like this video and feel free to subscribe to this channel if you want Assassin's Creed content more. So the main point that is raised by some people is that how is there a black samurai present in feudal Japan? So basically there's two sorts of people who are having this opinion. One would be the ones who actually don't know about this black samurai called Yasuke, and the other ones are those who know who Yasuke is but still don't like this thing happening. Now I'm gonna talk separately for the arguments of both of these types of people. First, the ones who don't know about the black samurai called Yasuke. Now there is not a lot known about Yasuke. It is said that Yasuke was probably from Mozambique, which is in Africa. He was brought to Japan by an Italian Jesuit missionary called Alessandro Valignano. So I'm not Italian, so don't bother my pronunciation. Now this dude Alessandro arranged an audience with Oda Nobunaga, who is also gonna be there in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now if you guys don't know who Oda Nobunaga was, he was the most significant samurai lord in the Sengoku period. Valignano brought Yasuke with him. Now the next thing that happened was pretty funny. Oda Nobunaga was pretty shocked to see Yasuke because he was the first African man Nobunaga ever saw. Nobunaga told Yasuke to remove his clothes above the belt and thought that his body has ink applied on him. So Nobunaga told Yasuke to wash himself, but nothing changed. Nobunaga said Valignano to give Yasuke to him, and then Nobunaga named Yasuke as Yasuke. Before, there is not any information about Yasuke's original name. Nobunaga then kept Yasuke as a retainer. Now this is where a lot of discussion is happening. A lot of people are saying that retainer is different than samurai. Now after seeing multiple sources on the internet, most of them say that retainers, also known as kashin in Japanese, are in the samurai class, but they are more trusted and loyal individuals to the daimyo. They serve the lord and in return they got stipend, protection and other benefits. Now in some places it is said that these retainers were considered to be an inferior class of samurai, but I don't have anything to prove it because these are from some forums and only 2 or 3 guys were claiming this thing, so I don't know if this is true, but the things that I mentioned before are true. So that means the retainers actually fought as samurai. So the whole argument of Yasuke being a retainer just completely dismantles. I read multiple sources and most of them say that retainers are a class of samurai. Now the next part of his story can be where Ubisoft twists and turns the events in order to create a narrative for the game. Now after some time, when Yasuke was serving Nobunaga got betrayed by his own senior vassal Akechi Mitsuhide, and after that Nobunaga committed suicide. Now even after all of this, Yasuke went to Nobunaga's heir called Nobutada and fought against Akechi's forces, but Yasuke was caught obviously because he was overpowered. But Yasuke was let go by Akechi because he found him harmless. Yasuke was sent back to the Jesuit missionaries. Now after this, God knows what actually happened with Yasuke, but there are several speculations made regarding his depictions in multiple drawings, but it is still unclear if it was actually him. Now you know the story, so let's move on to the second type of people who know about Yasuke but they still think that Yasuke was not meant to be in this game. Here are some of their arguments. Yasuke was just a retainer and not a samurai. And this is the argument for which I already gave an answer for, that the retainers are a class of samurai, and Yasuke fighting against the Akechi forces clearly shows that he was capable of at least knowing the samurai skills. Now their next argument is that Yasuke's character is gonna be historically inaccurate and not grounded, and I'm gonna reply about this as well. Third argument is that why is there no Asian man who is samurai, instead there is a black guy who is a samurai, and again I'm gonna give the reply of this as well. Now to tackle the second point, I would just say to read the starting screen whenever you turn on Assassin's Creed games. It is written clearly in the front, it is not hidden. Inspired by historical events and characters, this work of fiction was designed, developed and produced by a multicultural team of various religious faiths and beliefs. Now, the statement is very clear that Assassin's Creed games are based on fiction. They are never historically point-to-point accurate. Sure, they take inspiration from the historical events and characters, but it's not like they are not gonna change it according to the narrative of the game. And the people who play Assassin's Creed games for a long time know this already. Assassin's Creed has been always like this. Do you think that Leonardo da Vinci helping Ezio to customize his hidden blade and work on the apple of Eden is actually real? Do you think that actually happened, guys? And there's even more stuff like this, like the whole Isu artifact stuff, Minerva and stuff like that. Obviously, everything is fictional. Nothing is 100% accurate point to point. Also, Ezio himself is a fictional character. Meanwhile, Yasuke is an actual historical figure. Whether Ubisoft does not stick to his historical records point to point or not, Yasuke was still an actual guy that existed. There was no other assassin protagonist who existed until we now saw Yasuke. So people should quit with the argument that, well, it's not historically accurate. Well, it never was in the Assassin's Creed series ever. Also, this can be connected to the third point, that doesn't it make sense to have a Japanese man instead of a black man? Isn't the likelihood of a Japanese man being in a Japanese game more justified? Well, the thing is it morally wrong for a guy from a specific place to go and be in some other place and there's gonna be a game on that? Is it wrong to actually have a black guy in Japan where there are more Japanese people? A lot of people can argue, well, the statistical likelihood of having a Japanese man in a Japanese themed game is higher than a black man in it. Obviously, you can give arguments like it's so rare that he was the first ever samurai, so why are we just making on this single guy who came and why are we just focusing on him? Now I would argue, why does a statistic actually matter in a video game where you can kill 5 people without that much difficulty? Isn't killing 5 people together statistically has a very low probability? Tell me the probability of that. I'll tell you what, it's pretty low. You see, it's a video game and not everything has to be more probable in order to it being a good game. The reason why we play games in the first place is that we want an experience that we couldn't achieve in real life. The things that we do in these games are not possible in real life, and that's why we enjoy it. It's a video game. You don't have to be that serious regarding this. If the story is good, who actually cares if one of the protagonists is black or not? Plus, imagine a story where there is a black samurai. The story is automatically gonna become interesting just by having a unique character in a game, because we are gonna wonder, well, how are people gonna react to him? Same thing you can see in Shogun, that we are curious to know what happens with John Blackthorn, or you could say Anjin-sama. It creates a lot of interesting things in itself. And also, one thing that is quite funny is that there is literally a Japanese woman who is an assassin in this game, and it looks like everyone just forgot her because of this discourse. She's like, what about me? And I feel like people already know that, but they actually want a Japanese man instead of a Japanese woman. Another thing is that there are numerous games where there is a Japanese guy in a Japanese themed game, like Ghost of Tsushima, Yakuza, Rise of the Ronin, and more. So you do have those options already. Assassin's Creed Shadows is just a single game where there is a black dude in a Japanese setting. Like, come on, if you don't want to play as a black dude, you can play as the Japanese woman. I'm sure I'm gonna play with her more, but not for the same reason. My reason is that I actually like stealth more, so that's a lot more suitable for me. I feel like recently what has been happening is that a lot of people are creating controversy without any reason, like Sweet Baby, DEI, and a bunch of other stuff like that. And I don't support Sweet Baby or anything like that, but people are dragging these things in almost every game now that has even a little bit of diversity. Just some months ago, there was a discourse going on whether GTA 6 has gone woke or not. Like, seriously, I'm not even kidding, just because the game has a Hispanic woman. But the people who are doing this sort of thing don't see that there is also a white dude who is a protagonist at the same time. There are also games where there is a white person at a place that is not very common for white people. For example, the game Naoe, Neo, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce it, so again, don't bother about the pronunciation. I, as an Asian guy, would love to see more diversity in game, and I don't care if the games have an Asian man or a woman. A lot of people are gonna say, well, you're Asian, how do you don't know how to pronounce the name? Well, I'm Asian, I'm not Japanese, I'm Indian, and that is in Asia, so I would call myself Asian. Now, it is going to be different for everyone. Some people don't consider Indians as Asians, but I mean, that is a stupid argument, to be honest. Like, who cares, man? Like, it's in Asia, dude. A lot of people actually also say that there is forced diversity going on with these games, and to be honest, that's a very vague term, because you don't know whether it is forced or not. You are just assuming it based on your preconceived notions. You are interpreting it that way and thinking of it as a virtue signal when that's actually not the case. People are blaming bad story writing on diversity so many times, and that gets kinda annoying. Like, just because the game is bad, it does not mean it is some DEI stuff and that's the causation. There's a lot of diverse games that are actually good. For example, my childhood favorite, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It it has black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, and white people. And the story was still phenomenal. I feel like there is a notion that when a diverse game is bad, people blame the diversity. But when a non-diverse game is bad, well, that is because of some other reason. Diversity looks like a scapegoat for these, sort of people who want to push everything on, it so that, they don't have to, bother about the story or anything like that. Now, obviously, the story should be good in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I'm gonna repeat it again. It will have nothing to do with the diversity. And for this story reason only, I target Ubisoft a lot of time. I have actually done this in my previous videos a lot of times, that recently the games have not been that good in terms of the story. This should actually be the discourse that Ubisoft should focus more on its story, like it was used to be back in OG Assassin's Creed games. And also why they have pre-order available without even showing the gameplay trailer. These are all valid reasons to attack Ubisoft. Also, I have already made a video about how Ubisoft might pump up the microtransactions in the game this time because they are launching the Infinity Hub at the same time. And the Infinity Hub is basically gonna be the hub from where you're gonna dive into the different Assassin's Creed games that are gonna come in the future. And this hub is fishy in the sense that it can be a place where they can do all their heavy microtransaction stuff, but it's still not 100% clear how this Infinity Hub is gonna work, so we have to wait for that. But anyways guys, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, by the way. Comment down your thoughts about what you personally think about the character of Yasuke, and do you think it is gonna have actually any impact on the game, like this much hate towards Yasuke? I don't think it's gonna have that much impact because a lot of people who are actually hating the game and being in this discourse are actually not even for the most part players of the game. I feel like recently what has happened is that a lot of people are abusing Ubisoft for a lot of stuff. Some things are justified, to be honest, but stuff like this, when they are just hating for no reason, I feel like a lot of these people are actually not even players. They just want to join the discourse. So make sure to like this video and feel free to subscribe to this channel if you want more Assassin's Creed content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.